WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
I can't believe I'm putting my voice to this.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Thank you for your irrelevant opinion.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry.
The first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I got to say.
I'm a broadcast journalist. I have a right to my opinion.
Oh, son of a...
I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even in commentary.
There is the sound of the bell, and we are set to go on a very spiritual edition of Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you alongside, well, Teddy Faw's out in the lobby here answering phones for me, but otherwise I'm here with all of my friends this week. Having a little bit of fun. We'll get into Night of Champions in a little bit, but the purveying theme that I wanted to go with today, as I'm sure many of you have heard and know, Pope Francis is here in the Philadelphia area for the weekend, and in honor of that, well, I know that we talk a lot of politics, especially backstage politics here on Pro Wrestling Weekly, but I thought this week we'd talk about the other taboo subject, religion, in basically going back and looking at some of your favorite, least favorite, memorable, and even cringe-worthy religious moments, characters, and storylines in professional wrestling. And, of course, one place to go is you've got the Undertaker Druids in the background here. Is, well, a lot of things involving The Undertaker, from the Ministry of Darkness, which I know had been chimed in earlier this morning from John from Northeast Philly. There was certainly a lot to go on there. We'll have a few things that will be chiming in over the course of the hour. A few of them, some of them are interesting. Some of them are, how the heck did they get away with that? We're going to bounce all around with that to say the least, here over the course of the hour. Okay, that's, I think, enough of the Druids, at least for the moment here. Otherwise, I might get into some sort of trouble, at least for something else this time. But before we get into all that, let's talk Night of Champions this past Sunday. I failed to put my picks up on the Pro Wrestling Weekly Facebook fan page as I was preempted last week. However, it's a good thing I did, because my picks were about as efficient as as Dark Helmet and his underlings combing the desert in Spaceballs. And as far as my numbers went, well,
We ain't found
yeah, it didn't go so well for me. I went 3 out of 8 for the pay-per-view as compared to Lucas's 6 out of 8. So just when I thought I was right back at even pace with him, he goes ahead of me by 3 on that. For those who missed the pay-per-view, the kickoff show, Stardust and the Ascension beating Neville and the Lucha Dragons. Kind of surprising to see the heels take an opening match. Usually it's one of those deals where you have the good guys kind of win, get the crowd hyped up, that sort of thing. But the surprises, they would continue throughout the night. We have a new Intercontinental Champion named Kevin Owens. I didn't get that one right either, as he beat Ryback in that one. Dolph Ziggler beating Rusev, putting me to 0-3 on the night so far. I finally got some semblance of redemption as I had the New Day retaining, and they did by disqualification, as Xavier Woods on the outside attacking the Dudleys for the DQ and being extremely entertaining with his trombone, even at one point busting out a little bit of the Rocky theme, which I'm sure is very relative to the Philadelphians around here, to say the least. Didn't know that you could rock the Rocky theme on a trombone, but Xavier Woods proving that is possible. We also have a new Divas champion in Charlotte, which I also did. Man, so far, yeah, 1 for, well, as I said, 3 for 8 overall, so things not exactly going well. But Charlotte defeating Nikki Bella to win the Divas Championship. Also, the Mystery Partner. I feel like Mystery Partner storylines never, I don't know, they never satisfy everybody. I guess because there's always so much hype around them and, ooh, who's it going to be, that you set an expectation and ultimately get disappointed by said expectation. But Chris Jericho, not a bad pick at all. Certainly can't go wrong with it. He teamed up with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, and they fell to the Wyatt family, as Lucas and I both correctly predicted. And then the two title matches, the U.S. and WWE World Heavyweight title. And I say two as in two involving Seth Rollins, who held both of them heading into the night. And that would not be the same result at the end of the night, as John Cena beating Seth Rollins to win the United States Championship. Neither Lucas nor I got that one right. And finally, Seth Rollins defeating Sting in about 15 and a half minutes to retain the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And kind of a notable story coming out of that, Sting suffering a serious neck injury at Night of Champions. That's right, a serious neck injury according to TMZ. Sting giving an exclusive interview to the WWE website where he said he, quote, had tingling numbness down both arms all the way to my fingertips, and then later in the match I just fell wrong, whatever it was, and this time the tingling and numbness went down both arms and into my legs, and I couldn't feel my legs too well. They just felt like rubber. I don't know how to describe it. I had to go down on all fours there for a minute, get my composure. I was worried, end quote. One of the things mentioned during the evaluation, which included a CT scan and MRI, was cervical spinal stenosis. You're wondering, what the heck is that? I'm no doctor, nor do I play one on TV or radio, but I do know that it's the same condition that prematurely ended the careers of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Edge, among others. But the difference is, those guys were in their 30s. Sting is 56 and going out there and wrestling a 15-minute match. So kudos to him for doing so, but at what detriment long-term did that occur? I don't know. Do you think this is it for Sting? Well, you can certainly chime in a number of different ways, either on the Facebook fan page, WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly, or via the phones, 215-949-3232, or toll-free at 888-922-2149. Those are the ways that you can certainly get in. So a lot of news to get into over the course of the hour. Dixie Carter revealing the status of Destination America and where Impact Wrestling goes from there. Also, Lucas's boys, CM Punk and AJ Lee, they're going to be appearing in a horror movie together. I'll tell you about that coming up. The fan who jumped the barricade at Night of Champions, yeah, we'll have to get into that a little bit, because in case you missed it, because WWE is usually good about not spotlighting that sort of thing. Before Chris Jericho was announced as... Yeah, I'll get into it now. Before Chris Jericho was announced as the mystery partner in the six-man tag of Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and that mystery partner against the Wyatts, a fan jumped the barricade and made his way into the ring because he was dressed in the similar Shield garb that Roman Reigns wears. And it wasn't until he made it into the ring that security got a hold of him and tackled him. But there have been a lot of incidents in recent history of fans overstepping their bounds when it comes to interacting with the professionals in the ring, whether it be jumping the barricade, trying to enter the ring. In the one case a little bit ago, a fan throwing his replica Money in the Bank briefcase at a wrestler in the ring. So there's been way too much of that has gone on. And WWE, they're providing a little bit of backlash. In this case, it's toward Oscar Ramirez, who is that fan who entered the ring right before Reigns and Ambrose took on the Wyatt family at Night of Champions. Well, he's been sentenced to 10 days in jail for his unauthorized entrance into the ring. His mugshot photo, you can check it out online. It was recently posted on Twitter. Don't be stupid. It's really that simple. They're professionals for a reason. Just because it's not like it was in the 70s, 80s, or even 90s, where if you get far enough in, I mean, the wrestlers don't exactly have the green light to beat you to a pulp like they used to do. Still, they're professionals. You are not. Stay the hell out of there. It seems stupid to say that, but obviously there are a lot of people who don't seem to follow that otherwise simple advice. Go figure. Very well done. Oh, John chiming in, the Facebook fan page, always active. John chiming in, and I'm in the office today listening while on break, #dedication. Well, certainly appreciate your listenership as always. Oh, man. So more news to get into in a little bit. Of course, the usual things to tell you about. We'll get into that in a little bit. Today in wrestling history, later, as well as birthdays. And, yes, some various Pope-related items. I'll try not to I'll try to toe the line ever so delicately. I'll get into one of those. We'll take care of our first set of business, and then we'll get to Ed from Northeast Philly on the other side of our first time out, just to make sure he's got the full allotted time. So this one, we're going to go back to 2002 for this religious character from professional wrestling. In fact, we'll even bring up his music. It's amazing how that works. There you go. Cue that organ. This one, yes, Reverend Devon. Yeah, I'm sure you remember him. After WrestleMania X8 back in 2002, the WWE roster was split. Raw and SmackDown, for those of you who don't know. WWE thought it'd be a good idea to break up the Dudley Boys, and Bubba Ray was drafted to Raw, and Devon was drafted to SmackDown. Of course, he was given a villainous reverend character of Reverend Devon, which was very short-lived. I'll tell you how short-lived in just a moment. The highlight, well, his protege, Deacon Batista, he would go on to become a movie star. Well, okay, maybe not a movie star, but he would go on to be Batista, who a former multi-time world heavyweight champion. So yeah, that's one example of a religious character in professional wrestling, and I think we're gonna flip up the script here. What the heck? It's my show. I guess I can take the break a little bit late. We'll go ahead and get to Ed from Northeast Philly right now. Ed, welcome to the program.
Good afternoon. Did you hear about JAPW's promoters?
Yes, I did. Unfortunately, I know. Affectionately known locally as Fat Frank, passing away in his sleep this past Wednesday night at the age of 43. He was the longtime Jersey All-Pro Wrestling promoter going all the way back to 1997.
That's a shame. I don't know if that show is still on.
Well, I don't think they've been promoting as recently lately. I'll admit my familiarity with Jersey All-Pro Wrestling is rather minimal. I mean, there are a lot of other people locally who would be able to tell you a lot more about him. Rob from RF Video, for example.
I think he was supposed to do a show in November, but I don't know now.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, condolences to his family. That's first and foremost. I mean, all the other stuff, the promotion and whatnot's kind of secondary.
Yeah, they have a GoFundMe page for him. Over $1,515 so far.
Oh, very nice. Anyway, what else is on your mind?
October 11th is South Jersey WrestleFest. Matt Tremont is running that one.
Oh, yeah, he's been very involved as of late. I mean, stuff with CZW. I've met Matt on quite a few occasions. Great guy, definitely a great show to check out.
You probably heard about Legends of the Ring. They have a full roster on October 3rd.
That's right. It's October 3rd, and here's a programming. Holy smokes, I might actually be able to go to one for the first time in forever, as I found out through the powers that be here at WBCB that next Saturday, October 3rd, we have a high school football quadruple header, thanks to various schedulings, part because of the Pope's visit this weekend, and therefore there will be no Pro Wrestling Weekly next weekend, so maybe I'll have to make my way up to Legends of the Ring.
And WWA, October 3rd, 7:30 at the Homestead Boys Club on 7700 Dittman.
Oh, that's right. I think that's in Northeast Philly as well. Okay, Triple WA, they always do a great show. I've had Dino Santa on the program before.
Yeah, tickets are still available. Good seats are still available.
They most certainly are.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, there's never a bad seat, really, when you go to those shows. I've done a few of them. I even did a little in-ring announcing and some play-by-play commentary for them.
Morocco is going to be in New Jersey for PWS, along with Dark Journey, Vampiro, and China.
Oh, wow. That's certainly a lot of names for Pro Wrestling Syndicate. They got the chance to check out a couple of their shows earlier this year. It's kind of hard to bounce around all the different promotions and whatnot.
And one more, Philly has SmackDown coming up for WWE.
Yes, we've been running some of their commercials. In fact, one of them will be you'll be able to hear a little bit more about it in probably about 3 or 4 minutes or so, as we're going to be advertising the Sun National Bank Center show. So you'll be able to get more information on that coming up.
Madison Square Garden on the network on October 3rd, too.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot going on, to say the least. Anyway, thanks so much for the call, Ed. Appreciate the look at the local scene, as always. Let me take care of a quick bit of business. And on the other line, could it possibly be? I think we have a celebrity that we'll bring up on the line right after we take care of this quick timeout. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Fearon Derry.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you. Talking Night of Champions, talking religious figures, characters, storylines, and otherwise in professional wrestling in honor of Pope Francis being here in Philadelphia. And we've got a notable figure on the line, to say the least, that we're going to go to in a second here. I guess you could say he's a celebrity, and if you won't, he certainly will.
I'm a celebrity now. That's right. I said it. I'm a celebrity.
That's right. None other than Lucas, the, I guess, former kind of sometimes-ish intern. We've got him on the line here. Lucas, what's going on?
Just don't make me get you any coffee. I'm all the way in Paulsboro. So, yeah.
In the 2+ years that you've been on this show, when have I made you get me coffee? How many times? 0.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of employer.
Yeah.
That and I don't like coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm more of a hot chocolate guy myself. So
I'm going to take your advice from a couple weeks ago and take the high road.
Thank you.
What a twist from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So
those were good times back then, when we were actually even with our picks starting to go wrong, and then Night of Champions happened. And since I don't think you got the chance to hear earlier, I basically compared my picks to combing the desert.
We ain't found
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies, man. I know Eric from the Minnesota Wrecking Crew would find that amazing as well.
Yeah, I know. That was exclusively for Lucas, who didn't hear the bit earlier because I played it, and people are going, he used that joke already. Well, when it works no matter how many times you use it, right?
Yeah,
Ask Gilbert Gottfried at the Hugh Hefner roast.
True. So what's going on, buddy? How's what do we got to talk about this week?
Well, I mean, the main thing I was kind of, I don't want to say poking fun at, but I mean, I do like to have laughs about these sort of things. Notable religious characters, storylines, or otherwise in professional wrestling. I talked about Reverend Devon a little bit ago. I mentioned The Undertaker. Of course, we had the Druids to kick off the show.
What about the Fat Friar?
Wow, in putting my notes together, I didn't even think of that one. Friar Ferguson. Holy smokes. I didn't even think of that one.
Why did I just call him the Fat Friar? What am I thinking that's from?
I mean, I know that was an insult in Disney's Robin Hood back in '73.
That's probably what I was thinking of, because we do like the 1 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly. It all ties in. That's
play yourself, Nutsy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, Nutsy's warming up. He's got about 33 minutes. As opposed to the 3-minute warning, it's the 33-minute warning.
Yeah. I'm glad we were talking about this, because I'm taking a media class in school, and my teacher, Mr. Steele, I think I brought him up in passing a couple times on the show. He's also a big wrestling fan. He was talking about when he loves going to like college football games and stuff, and when he travels on a plane, he dresses up as a priest. And because, think of it this way, if you're dressing up as a priest, most people are going to be nice to you when you're on a plane. You're not going to have to worry about people like profiling you and stuff like that. So he dresses up as a priest, and everybody's always like, "Oh, nice to see you, Father. How are you doing?" You know, it's a very smart move.
It's very positive.
But obviously, you wouldn't be able to put me in that situation. Oh, look at Father Twitchy over there. What's wrong with him? You know.
Wow. You know what? That's worse than a lot of places that we could have gone.
Yeah.
Like the place I'm about to go next. Now, I know that Pope Francis tends to exude, obviously, one certain religion, but we're going to go in a different direction for this one. And yes, this is exclusively because you're on the phone here. A religious angle that certainly went wrong. You got to go back to 2004, 2005 for this one. Yes, Muhammad Hassan. For those who don't remember him, because it was fairly short-lived, he was only around for about a year or so, this doomed from the start character described himself as an Arab-American wrestler wanting relief from the increased prejudice and stereotypes created by the 9/11 attacks.
Yep.
Yeah, what could go wrong there? He would then, I know what could go wrong. The fact that he would controversially extend his hands, and initially he would even give praise to Allah. And then there were complaints by Muslim Americans, and that was squashed very quickly.
Yeah. You know, the thing, if most of you don't remember who Muhammad Hassan is, then you didn't watch WrestleMania 21 where he was beaten down by...
Oh, we're censoring Hogan now? Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I guess WWE is too. We can't even...
Well, they are. I mean, how many times have we talked about Benoit on the show just because they censored him? There's very few grounds that we cover here. But the ultimate demise of the character was after, and you probably remember this better than I do, the July 4th, 2005 incident on SmackDown.
No.
No, as in you remember, or know what happened? Okay. Well,
what happened?
Hassan's manager, Daivari, was scheduled to face and ended up losing to The Undertaker that night. But after the match, Hassan began to, and I use this in quotes, prey on the ramp, summoning 5 masked men dressed in black shirts, ski masks, and camo pants, who proceeded to beat The Undertaker with clubs and choke him out with piano wire.
Oh.
And then Hassan put The Undertaker in the camel clutch. As if that wasn't bad enough. 3 days after the taping, so the night that it aired, the London bombings took place.
Oh, are you serious?
I am serious. Yeah, the same day it aired on SmackDown. So the network carrying SmackDown at the time, UPN, they weren't too happy about this because they got a lot of negative attention from it.
So they had to fire...
Well, they pressured... eventually, but they initially just pressured WWE to keep Muhammad Hassan off of their network. Since he was drafted to SmackDown, it's kind of hard to have him be on the SmackDown roster but not be on TV based on network demands.
You know, and that's unfortunate, though, because he was pretty much just doing what they were asking him to do. It's really... It's unfortunate when stuff like that happens, but it happens.
Well, the pressure was so mounting that 2 months later he was released from his WWE contract in September of 2005, and then subsequently retired from professional wrestling. And that was 10 years ago now.
Yeah. Well, the heat that you're getting from that, I would retire too if that was the case.
Yeah, because you can't really go anywhere else and not... I mean, he couldn't have gone to... well, granted, Daivari did, and they had theme music where it was the sound of a plane crashing. So, I mean, how tasteless can you get?
And TNA, yeah, that was...
I know. That credit to OSW for that factoid, because I did not know that.
Yeah, it's messed up. But, you know, I wanted to... Have we gone over one of the most infamous storylines that happened in 2006? Depicting a religious figure and somebody who thinks of himself as a religious figure.
I did have it here, but I did not get to it yet. I was going to save that as kind of a, I don't want to say crescendo, but it was certainly a lot of fun. Why
don't we save it for the end of the second segment? Because I got to run after that. In
a cringeworthy type thing.
Why don't we save that for the end of the second segment? Because I got to run after that, but I definitely want to go over it.
I kind of figured, yeah. So you only got maybe about another 6-7 minutes or so. Okay. Well, okay, I'm looking here on the Facebook fan page. John from Northeast Philly, he said, would Vince's exploding limo survival be considered a miracle?
He'd certainly have himself canonized.
He's got jokes. Now, Bob Schwartz mentioned one on here that I was going to get into. He mentioned Friar Ferguson, which I hadn't even thought of. I don't know. I guess because it was another really short-lived one, and I was kind of young at that point. I was maybe 10 when that character finished and hadn't started watching wrestling yet. So while I do know some history, I can't say I know everything because I don't want to declare myself as a know-it-all because I certainly don't. But
we already had one caller that claimed that, but...
Oh, you're going to go there? Yeah, from my drop. We're going to go back to that controversy again?
No, I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not going to say anything.
Okay, very good. But from May of 98, you wouldn't remember this angle because you were still in diapers at this point. Or maybe you do. I don't know. The He Is Coming angle. No, it has nothing to do with Val Venus. After getting rid of the Goldust character, not too long after the way over the top artist formerly known as Goldust character in early '98. Yeah, I know. Most people cringe at that, too. Runnels burned one of his Goldust costumes on Monday Night Raw, and over the next few weeks addressed the edgy Attitude Era product by promoting alternatives to watching Raw, such as reading the Bible. If this were 2015, you could probably say, Monday Night Football. But
okay, let's put it this way, though. How many characters in wrestling have put themselves over as born-again Christians? Or at least try to. Not off the screen, but let's see on screen. Like, I know Jake did it. I know Dustin Runnels did it, too. But we could definitely do something about
there's a whole show that we can do with on that. But in this case, a lot of what led to that angle, I mentioned Val Venus because one of his films he called The Preacher's Wife, and it was him with Terry Runnels, his then wife at the time, in bed with him. But yeah, in a gig that I missed as a teenager, he was endorsed by a group known as the Evangelists Against Television, Movies, and Entertainment, or Eat Me for short. I'd never picked up on that as a kid. When you go back and watch, you never know what you're going to pick up. But Runnels would eventually allude to his return, which was obviously very religiously overtoned, but the payoff to it was the eventual return of Goldust.
Yeah.
Later, like maybe 4 or 5 months later.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, kind of an underwhelming payoff, but it was kind of an interesting journey, but there was a lot that was interesting in that part of the Attitude Era.
Oh, yeah, it definitely was. It just, we could do, like, an entire series on just talking about the Attitude Era on here. It's just...
Oh, yeah, that's what WWE goes to. And since you mentioned it, I guess we'll get this one out of the way while we still got you on the line here. But going back to 1996, Jake the Snake Roberts come back after years of personal demons. I'm sure they were pretty well chronicled. I mean, they've been more chronicled since kind of falling back off the wagon and beyond the mat, and of course getting picked back up courtesy of DDP and DDP Yoga. But prior to all of that, there was his comeback run at the age of 41 in the then WWF, and I mean, he changed things up from bringing an albino snake to the ring as opposed to the python that he had before, and he named it Revelations because Revelations is the end. Yeah, that's kind of where they were going with that. Yeah, all because of his real life at the time, born again Christian status. But that also famously led to one of the biggest booms in wrestling, courtesy of the '96 King of the Ring. I'm sure this might sound familiar.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the fourth prestigious King of the Ring, Stone Cold Steve Austin, an incredible victory.
The first thing I want to be done is to get that piece of crap out of my ring.
Come on.
Don't just get him out of the ring, get him out of the WWF. Because I've proved, son, without a shadow of a doubt, you ain't got what it takes anymore. You sit there and you thump your Bible and you say your prayers, and it didn't get you anywhere. Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass.
He is Stone Cold. Come on, that's not necessary.
All he's got to do is go buy him a cheap bottle of Thunderbird.
All right, stop
and try to dig back some of that courage he had in his prime. As the King of the Ring, I'm serving notice to every one of the WWF superstars. I don't give a damn what they are. They're all on the list, and that's Stone Cold's list, and I'm fixing to start running through all of them.
I could go ahead and play more, but I mean, it's become one of the infamous promos in wrestling, and it wasn't scripted word for word for him. Go figure.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. That's a whole other rant for another time, though.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, all thanks to that, that's what led to the Austin 316 boom, as slowly but surely people would be bringing signs of that nature to the events. And over the course of early to mid-97, really leading up to WrestleMania 13 was what led to the eventual face turn of Austin. And next thing you know, merchandising. He's selling Austin 316 stuff everywhere. It's 2 Spaceballs references in one show. Go figure.
This is why we're best friends.
Yeah.
Seriously. This is good.
Yeah. Austin 316 the T-shirts. Austin 316 the hats. No, there were no flamethrowers.
The kids love them, though.
I know they do. But I don't think the Attitude Era kid. Well, actually, no. The Attitude Era kids would have become arsonists by now. A lot of them, if they had their. Thankfully, they didn't do that with Spaceballs, the flamethrower, either.
Yeah.
Oh, go figure. All right. So I know you've got to get going soon. You've got prepping to do for things down in Paulsboro tonight.
Yeah.
You know what? I was gonna say, go ahead and I'm gonna bend my rule a little bit. Go ahead and even though I know the Godfather said pimping ain't easy, hopefully you can do it here. Go ahead and pimp the factory.
Well, tonight we got a great show. I mean, Matthew Riddle versus Nick Camarado for the Monster Factory Heavyweight Championship. We got Luis and QT Marshall, the Real Life Feels versus the Down Boys for the Tag Team Championships. We had a lot of great matches in store for you guys tonight. So come on down to 541 Mansell Avenue, Paulsboro, New Jersey. Have yourself a great time.
There we go. He's not the best intern on this wrestling program for nothing, folks.
Thank you.
All right, Lucas, thanks so much for chiming in. I'll catch up with you at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for spending a few minutes, having a few laughs. It's always appreciated. It doesn't happen nearly often enough. We got to... this whole, well, right now, this time period between you being down there with the shows and me being preempted, I don't know. I don't think you've been physically here. It's probably going to be about a 4 to 5 week gap before you're next in studio.
Oh, yeah, probably. I hope not, but that's probably...
Well, I mean, for example, I forget what the schedule is for October shows, but October 3rd, we've got a high school football quadruple header. So, to say the least, there's nowhere to squeeze me on the schedule next week. I think the 10th, you have a show down there, right? Or is it the... I forget now.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'll look that up at some point. But I know there's one on the 24th. Because, unfortunately, I have another obligation, which I know I've pimped on here on a few occasions. Some sort of Halloween festival, and I'll leave it at that for now. So, I don't know. Maybe the 17th will be the next time we see it. Oh!
Yeah, maybe.
Speaking of which, hopefully you can get save time for this little bit here from our friends over at George's Cards and Collectibles, because also on October 17th, former WWE star, the Native American Tatanka, will be at George's from 11 until 1 p.m.
Also a Monster Factory graduate.
Yes, exactly. Oh, look at this. See, it all ties in.
Yes.
This is why we're so good at what we do. But yes, Tatanka will be at George's in the Neshaminy Mall Saturday, October 17th from 11 until 1. So I'm going to have to get there early because I'll be on the air here from noon to 1. So... check out Tatanka from 11 to 1 and check out me from 11 till probably about 11:30 at the latest so I can get here in time to do the show. And if hockey's more your style, well, why the hell are you listening to this show? But Flyers backup goalie Michael Newverth will be making his first public appearance on Friday, October 23rd from 7 to 8 p.m. at the Neshaminy Mall Sports Cards and Collectibles Show. Check out George's 3 locations for all your sports and wrestling memorabilia needs, including their original store at 7755 New Falls Road in Fairless Hills, just down the road from us here. On the lower level at the Oxford Valley Mall next to the Sears Court, just down the road from, well, you not now, but you get the idea. And in the Neshaminy Mall in the AMC Theater wing. For more info on the upcoming signings, collectibles, and more, give George's a call at 215-943-2475 or go to georgescollectibles.com. Lucas, thanks so much for sticking with us, and try not to choke too much on the Papal smoke that might make its way across the river.
I'll make sure I don't. Have a good one, Fearon.
All right, catch you later. Lucas DeSangro chiming in over the phones, calling down from the Monster Factory in Paulsboro. They've got a great show tonight. Go ahead and check them out. Anyway, I'm a little bit late for a timeout, so we'll take care of that. I got more news and notes, some more religious fun to get into, and birthdays and a litany of other stuff. Yeah, we'll take care of the other plug on the other side here as well. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, September 26. On this date in 1994, WWF Monday Night Raw aired live from Utica, New York. In the featured match, Razor Ramon defeated Tatanka by countout. On this date in 1999, WWF held its Unforgiven pay-per-view. In the main event, Triple H defeated The Rock, Kane, the British Bulldog, Mankind, and The Big Show in a six-pack challenge to win the vacant WWF Championship. On this date in 2005, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Waco, Texas. In the main event, Carlito and Chris Masters defeated John Cena and Shawn Michaels in a tag team tables match. On this date in 2011, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Kansas City, Missouri. In the main event, CM Punk pinned Alberto Del Rio. This has been Today in Wrestling History, September 26. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, having a bit of a spiritual show this week as we're looking at some of the memorable, famous, infamous, favorite, least favorite, and even cringeworthy religious moments and characters and storylines in professional wrestling. And we've had quite a few. We'll kick around a couple of more here before the hour closes out. Once again, thanks to Lucas for chiming in all the way down from Paulsboro there. Greatly appreciate it. Well, one character that certainly jumps out at me from my youth, as his character had been around on and off for the better part of a decade, going back to 1988. Well, this is another one that the music pretty much sets the tone. That's right. 3 words pretty much say it all. I love you. That's right. Bruce Pritchard's Brother Love character, poking fun at the various greedy Southern televangelists and things of that nature. On a side note, it's kind of hysterical to kind of look out of the corner of my eye, and after the delay that we have here at the station, seeing the reactions to some of the things I do and say from Ted Efaw. Just, yeah, there we go. The thumbs up from out in the lobby there. Just breaking the fourth wall a little bit, I know. It's what I do. CM Punk did it kind of well, too. But, yes, Brother Love, of course, an interviewer, favorer of the heels, and heel manager who brought us The Undertaker in 1990. One of the numerous religious characters, figures, and otherwise in professional wrestling. And he wasn't the only religious-esque manager to be in the World Wrestling Federation at the time. There was also longtime manager turned analyst and panelist, I guess, for lack of a better term, Reverend Slick. That's right. After years of being a manager who looked an awful lot like a skinny pimp, as denoted by the late Big Boss Man, Slick denounced his shady past and tried to become a better man both on-screen and off-screen. Highlight including trying to civilize the Ugandan Kamala, even trying to take him bowling. I'm sure that, I don't know, is that up on the WWE Network? If not, they should definitely put that up there. Guess you have to look up which episode of, I don't know, whether it had been Primetime Wrestling at the time or something like that. I have no idea. That was like 92, I want to say that went down, something like that, 91 or 92. I don't know. Anyway, getting into some other news and tidbits over the course of the week here that and other things that I've forgotten due to my incompetence. Jeff Jarrett reportedly out as minority TNA owner. That's right. According to Mike Johnson of PWInsider.com, Jeff Jarrett sold his remaining shares in TNA Impact Wrestling to Dixie Carter and Panda Energy. Dixie Carter and Panda Energy. Jeff and his father, Jerry Jarrett, of course, founding TNA back in 2002. And speaking of TNA, Dixie Carter, she revealed the status of the network that they're on, Destination America. That's right. Dixie Carter commenting on Impact Wrestling's status and situation with Destination America during a Sports Illustrated interview where she said, quote, "The biggest challenge for us is building a brand in the U.S. That's where we need to grow. We're contracted to Destination America through the end of the year, and we're in discussions going on for 2016. The closest thing to a viable competitor to the WWE. We'll see how things are going. Although, I don't know. Some would argue, well, Ring of Honor's up there. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other competition, to say the least. I don't know. That's another debate for another day. Also, CM Punk and his wife, AJ Lee, former WWE stars. You know them well. They're going to be appearing in the horror film Hellstorm, according to MBN News Video Web. The film is about a group of mismatched survivors banding together following a world war and must battle, quote, unexplainable and horrific beasts that descend upon their tiny makeshift community. There's a Z-Pack joke to be made somewhere, but I'm not going to do so. The film will begin shooting in Ohio in November, and I wonder if that means that we won't see Punk's first UFC fight until 2016, since he's taking a little time off to go film a movie. I don't know. Also, a WWE Hall of Famer who was arrested yet again. I hate these not-so-fun stories. WWE Hall of Famer Tammy Sitch. You may remember her as Sunny. She was arrested this past Wednesday in Pennsylvania for an outstanding bench warrant, according to TMZ. She was arrested after missing 3 hearings related to her May arrest for DUI, careless driving, and driving on a suspended license. Things continuing to not go well for the WWE Hall of Famer and longtime former diva back in the mid to late 90s. I don't know. Here's how I feel like I say this a lot with her, but here's hoping that she can somehow get things together. Alrighty, one other. I'm sure people are wondering, how come you haven't mentioned this religious thing? Because I was saving it for the end. I know Lucas was referring to it over the phone earlier, but back in 2006, Shawn Michaels versus Vince McMahon. I mean, as we know, the second half of Shawn Michaels' in-ring career had numerous religious overtones, from adopting his ring entrance to allow a prayer on the entrance ramp, as opposed to his usual lunge and flex type deal that he was attributed to, although he still kept it around. He just saved it for in the ring, to wearing tank tops with certain Bible scriptures, to a storyline against Vince McMahon, which peaked in April 2006. You remember this, WWE Backlash, where Vince and Shane McMahon took on Shawn Michaels and God in a no-holds-barred tag team match. That's right. Yeah, I'm sure if you go back and look, you'll see the on the network, you'll see the spotlight making its way down the ring as the holy music was playing. It was essentially a 2-on-1 handicap match, but playing off of Shawn Michaels' religious beliefs that he still has kept going. It's not like some who have been born-again Christians and kind of let it drop, because you sometimes tend to see that both in and out of professional wrestling. But no, to his credit, he has maintained it. All right, we'll get to Lucas's favorite segment in a moment, but first, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you about my favorite beer spot, the Broken Goblet Brewery. 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol. Broken Goblet Brewing, breaking your perspective on how you experience craft beer, because broken can be beautiful. Oh, just put back on tap one of my favorite seasonal beers, Old Toby. It's a 5.4% Belgian pale ale brewed with basil. Yeah, have some of that with either some pizza or a stromboli or something like that. It is amazing. Take it from me. Also coming up Sunday, October 11th, a special fundraiser at the Goblet called Pints for Pups. A portion of the day's proceeds will benefit It's a Rough Life Rescue, an all-breed dog rescue organization, where you'll be able to, on the 11th, meet the dogs available for adoption. There will also be brewery tours, food available for purchase from the Dog and Bull restaurant. See what they did there? And, of course, the Philly football game will be airing on the big screen. Open Wednesdays through Sundays. It is always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery. Easy for me to say. I wanted to say brewing and brewery at the same time. That didn't exactly work out well, as you could hear. 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Check them out on the web at brokengoblet.com. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly, which after that read, they might now be the quasi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Who knows? I don't know. I'll probably head over there for a pint a little bit later, so come check me out. I think they have, that's right, it's a weekend for regular members, discounted beers and things of that nature. Check out the membership. You can check it out at brokengoblet.com or go say hi to the boys in person, either Mike, Jay, Joe, or Bubba. And, of course, Kate the bartender. Yeah, definitely want to check them out. All righty. Another little bit of news here. Lucha Underground releasing a former TNA wrestler. You know Lucha Underground, the Lucha Libre wrestling franchise from United Artists Media Group and Factory Made Ventures. Well, they released Sean Hernandez, formerly known as TNA's Hernandez, from his contract, and they have amicably parted ways. Hernandez, he's kind of had a little trouble with TNA in that he had to be edited off of the recent TV tapings at TNA because he participated in the TV tapings and was under contract with Lucha Underground at the time. So it's hard to say where he goes from here. I don't know if he's necessarily burned his bridge with TNA or if he's going to go back there. Does he look to WWE? Does WWE have interest? I doubt it. They've already had a lot of roster turnover. I think they're kind of taking a break for a little bit. Hard to say. Anyway, we've got a couple of minutes left, just enough time for Lucas's favorite segment.
Birthday!
Oh, yeah, we're going to have a little bit of fun with this one. On this date in 1946, Christine Todd Whitman was born. Yeah, I know that name sounds very familiar locally. The former governor of New Jersey who was featured at the 1997 SummerSlam pay-per-view for removing the national tax on pay-per-view receipts that had discouraged the WWF at the time from running pay-per-view events in New Jersey for quite a few years, probably about a 5 or 6 year gap. Well, she turns 69 years old today. Yeah, I know there's not a lot of wrestling connections, so we threw that one in there. Also on this date in 1979, Naomichi Marufuji was born. The former New Japan, All Japan, and Pro Wrestling Noah Junior Heavyweight Champion turns 36 today. Yeah, we're going to the Far East for birthdays. You know we're stretching a little bit. And just because it is this weekend, you knew I had to go here. On this date in 1897, Giovanni Battista Enrico Antonio Maria Montini was born. Who's that? The Italian religious leader known as Pope Paul VI, who had a 15-year run as Pope from 1963 until his death at the age of 80 in 1978. And I don't even know if I want to do the math. I guess if he were still with us, he would be Pope. But if he were still with us, he would be 118 years old today. I don't know. Got to get out my calculator for that one. Holy smokes. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. Ted Efaw is up next. He has country music coming your way until 1:45, where we have high school football action, Saunders Trade and Comwell Egan Catholic. Until 2 weeks from now, as I'm preempted next week for high school football. Play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock in all's well.
Serving you better than ever before. This is 1490 WBCB Levittown.